By the way, the contractor was completely blown away as well by the time we got down to the bottom of it. So I'm headed out to meet with a contractor right now, and a story came up, and I was just thinking about it. A few years ago, I was talking to a seller, and we went through the whole process, talking about everything, talking about the property. Beautiful home, beautiful neighborhood, beautiful finishings in the home as well. And we get through the entire thing, sign the listing agreement. And he goes, "Hey, Sam, okay, so I want to talk to you about one thing that bugs me about this house." They owned it for 6 years or so, and I did not sell it to them. Somebody else had sold it to them. That happens from time to time. I work with people who I didn't sell a house to. And hopefully nobody else works with the buyers that I work with though. But he shows me this room. He goes, "This part of this room has always bugged me." And it's the corner. This corner of the room was a little bit spongy and it sat down. What was strange about this, because you see foundation issues, sometimes you just see settling in the soil. What was interesting about this was what it turned out to be was something I never expected this to be. And neither did anybody else, by the way. The contractor was completely blown away as well by the time we got down to the bottom of it. So I said, "Okay, listen, let's go ahead. We'll do the inspections. Maybe something will come up from the inspections and take a look." But what was interesting too is that there was no cracks in the wall. There was no settling, no signs, a foundation that was settling. A lot of times you'll see it, whether it's that room or another room, you'll see the cracks in the wall. And if you've seen a foundation settling, the way that this floor seemed like that foundation should have been settling, you would have seen cracks and you would have noticed a big difference. And those signs were just not there for this property. So we get the inspections come back. I go over them with the seller. I look at it first, I think there's nothing here that really stands out. The foundation itself looks fine. The inspector doesn't call it any issues with the beams inside the ceiling and the roof, and inside the crawl space bottom, crawl space top, everything looks fine. And what will happen is the inspector will call it out. So the inspector calls it out, then you take a further step. So then I said, "Listen, okay, so we had the inspection. We can take the next step of a foundation inspector." It's odd that they would see something that the inspector wouldn't see, but we typically go the opposite direction. The inspection, the foundation inspector, if the inspector calls something out. The inspector didn't really call anything out in this specific area. The inspectors always call something out, but in this specific area, they didn't. So we get the foundation inspector out there, and he goes, "Yeah, Sam, the soil looks fine. The foundation looks fine." He goes, "But there's no real reason that I can see for this issue right here. Maybe there's something in the subfloor." Get the contractor out there, pull the carpet up. And we have the subfloor, and the subfloor is just obviously tilting down. So we go, okay, so the only next step is to pull this section of the subfloor up. We get permission from the seller, and the seller goes, "Yeah, I really want to know what this is. If for no other reason, I want to know what this is." The contractor goes through the entire system, pops everything up, and crowbars, and we pull up this section of the subfloor, and all of us are completely blown away. Did not ever expect. Now keep in mind, this house has been bought and sold 4 or 5 times since the 80s. And when we first pulled this up, there's probably 150 phone books that are under this section of the house that are trying to prop up this section of the subfloor. So definitely not expecting that. And it was actually not a very difficult fix. Thankfully, there was no issues with the foundation. The foundation was actually fine. It was just this section of the subfloor, the way that the previous owner back in the 80s created a DIY was to put these crazy magazine, maybe some people don't even know what a phone book is now, but it's like a thick magazine of people who live in the area. So it's crazy, right? But I just thought about that. If you want to hear more crazy stories, if you like this story, like, subscribe. If you want to hear more crazy stories like this, ask me some questions. I'm always happy to answer. And this one's pretty nuts. I'm always here and happy to help. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out directly. Talk to you soon.